Aligning Perceptions is a course that was designed to bring police officers in a classroom with college students, and the police officer's role is to be a student. You know, traditionally police officers are brought into classrooms to be guest speakers, but what I really wanted to accomplish here was have the police officers acting as students and participating as students to really create that intergroup contact, so that you have two different groups that identify differently in society. You know, police officers being an arm of law enforcement, and the students, you know, being enrolled in college. And to have these two groups interact and work through critical thinking exercises together, I believe accomplishes a lot of the dialogue that's important to break down barriers.
Like, we're literally not doing anything. We're just at a gas station, pulled over to start like wiping ice cream, and he like assumed that we were like doing things.
So what could he have done different so that you wouldn't have had such a negative experience?
I volunteered for the class because I believe that it's important as a law enforcement officer that we're able to engage with members of the public. And Santa Barbara having a heavy, school background with UCSB and Santa Barbara City College, there are a lot of students here that may not have the ability to talk to a police officer, in their everyday lives. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to come in and be able to share experiences, maybe hear their perspective on things. Also have the time to then share, maybe some of the reasons why we do the things that we do, so that they maybe have a better understanding of things occurring, and maybe think about it maybe a little bit differently when they see something on the news, and maybe have a different, perspective, having had interaction with police officers.
The study of intergroup communication is about how when people come together and interact, they don't deal with each other as individual personalities with idiosyncratic temperaments. They deal with each other solely in terms of their group memberships. So you see a cop and you deal with that guy as a prototypical cop. You don't see them as John or whatever, and vice versa with the citizen. And it works for many, many intergroup situations. We're not talking to each other's hearts, soul, and minds. We're talking to each other in terms of their social category memberships, and hence there's stereotypes involved and can lead to all sorts of unfortunate miscommunications.
You know, for some time now, we here at SBCC, which reflects the general society at large, we've seen a slow and steady breakdown of trust, public trust, between law enforcement and the criminal justice system and our students and society at large. And when approached to do this program, we realized that this was a unique and innovative, perhaps even a groundbreaking program that really works to try to bring together students and law enforcement in a way that they can begin to understand each other in a context that they probably have not been able to talk with each other about or understand.
As part of the class, students are placed into focus groups with an officer participating in each group. The groups are provided a case study and work to develop a sentencing plan for the convicted person in the scenario. In developing a sentence, the focus groups will take into consideration crime causations, Eighth Amendment protections, current societal norms, sentencing goals, and rules of the California court. The facilitated dialogue allows the group to use critical thinking skills while interacting with one another.
Students, they learn in their textbooks, they see on television, social media, and what have you, what tend to be stereotypical depictions of the relationship between law enforcement in particular and the public at large. And here it's going to be what I hope is a complete breakdown of those barriers, those stereotypes, and everybody will come to a place where we understand each other a little bit more, and that should, in an ideal world, foster better communication between law enforcement and the public it serves.
So we are here because we have the luxury of a nice, safe academic environment. We're discussing criminal justice, we're discussing societal problems.
I feel like a lot of us are scared to report stuff sometimes, or just kind of actually like come into contact with a police officer just because of everything that's going on around the world. But I think that this experience really helps us understand that they're genuinely there to help us, but just again, society has made it look so bad. So I think it is a really good experience.
I'm a big fan in community policing, and I feel like for that to ever happen, you need police officers to talk to and form a discussion with. It's always seen in the media that we see cops either doing something bad, or the person that was the victim or it's just something always, there's a miscommunication. And I feel like for this to ever be resolved, or for there to ever be a solution for this, you need two people talking to each other, and I feel like this is really helpful.
I hope that they just hear us out more, maybe just understand I think we both all need to understand where each other are coming from, so that's why it's good that we're put in the same classroom so that we're eligible to do so. So just being able to understand each other's concerns and work forward from there.
You know, it's been interesting. It's been a really good experience to actually be around them, because I mean, that's not something that people get to have all that often, just having officers around that they can actually just talk to without it being like in a really formal situation.
Can't build a relationship without a dialogue, right? So I think it's really important that we've created the environment for the dialogue, so now it's just important that we come in and that, we're honest and we kind of open up a bit and, kind of throw a lot of the preconceived, bias notions, whatever, out the window and really take the conversations at face value, because once you have that open dialogue, you can start building a relationship. Recognizing we may have differences in thoughts and opinions, but also recognizing there are other perspectives out there, and at least being willing to take those on and listen to them may maybe affect the way I go out, further and do the job, and also may affect how they see law enforcement later.
It's different from like accidentally elbowing someone in the face and like actually trying to hit them. But at the same time, Eric has to take responsibility for that. He's trying to get away, right? You know what I mean? He's still like intentionally throwing arms.
As we move forward into the next era of policing, law enforcement can make great gains with the community by embracing the pillars of procedural justice. This model makes actionable the tenets of procedural justice by providing voice to both civilian community and sworn officers, creating an atmosphere of respect, and by facilitating the exercise in the classroom, creates neutrality in the conversation.
This program embraces everything that we need to create the dialogue that brings in trust and neutrality, respect within the voids, if you will, in our society. Police officers have been thought of as an opposing force. This classroom dialogue brings people to the table with their individual filters, and we get to work through and create a common ground that really opens the door to trust and legitimacy in everything we do.
I think that this program can be a model for other agencies and colleges to adopt, so that we are working on engaging our young adults in our society more and having a more meaningful dialogue with law enforcement. And I think that can create quite a bit of a culture change in how we continue forward. So I hope that this can be a model that other agencies and academic institutions can adopt in the future.